So, if we will get started on your backs, and we'll take your block with you. And let's start in a supported bridge pose. We'll keep everything else handy. So lie down, lift the seat, find a comfortable height for this. Something that you can kind of hang out in. Let the chest open so that the shoulders can relax down. And I'll leave the feet up to you, whether you want your knees knocking in, or if you want to take a little bit more of an opening, letting the knees fall out, or if you want to just keep them kind of neutral. And we'll close the eyes, soften the space between your eyebrows. Take a deep breath in. Open mouth, exhale. And again, breathe in. Let that breath go. And seal your lips. Soft inhale to fill up the chest. Gentle exhale out the nose, letting everything touching the floor relax. And we'll allow the full weight of your hips being held here by your block. Don't feel like you have to do any extra work through your legs, through your back. And as you slow the breath down, start to notice what's working in the body. What do you feel under your feet, under your shoulders, and your arms? We can control the pace of how we're noticing the world around us as well. Start with what's closest to you, what's happening at the surface level of your body, maybe what you hear inside your ears with your breath, with your heartbeat. And then as we start to take our awareness a little further out, the space that you're on your mat, in the room that you're in, you start to get a little more fuzzy, a little more quiet. And we try to just soften the edges. Kind of think of one of those paintings where the brush strokes start to get a little bit more melty, where you can kind of just see colors blending, more hard lines, no more hard borders. Stay here for about 10 more slow breaths. Set the feet back on the floor. You're going to bring your block to the lowest setting if you're not already there. And then we're going to tuck your right toes under your left thigh. See if you can catch your toes with your left hand, or you can just kind of hook the foot behind your left heel. And then we'll let your right knee drop forward. You should start to feel an opening on the top of your right hip crease, a little bit on the inside. And this added lift of the block, just add a little bit more intensity through there. If this is not working, you're also welcome to come off of your block and do this from the floor. Let this knee get nice and heavy. You might even feel some of the stretch coming above the hip crease into the belly. Last 2 inhales here. If you're holding on to the toes, release them. Let's set your right foot back on the floor. And you'll gently windshield wiper the knees side to side. And we'll come back through center, and this time you're going to tuck your left toes under your right thigh. So you can catch the toes with your fingers. If not, just hook it on the back of your right heel. We'll let the top of your right knee drop forward and down. And with the help of this block, gravity is going to do a little bit more work for us. I'm going to hang out here, opening the front of the left thigh, coming up into the hip crease. Maybe even feeling some of this into the belly. One more breath here. Release the toes, bring that left foot back to the floor. Gentle rock of the knees side to side. And then we'll lift the hips so you can slide the block out from underneath. Allow the back to come all the way into the floor. Hug the knees in. A little side to side here with the low back pressing down. You either stay in this tucked position, or if you want to take this into a happy baby. And we'll roll to a side, doesn't matter which one. Use that position so that you can start to press up. And let's set up for a nice long extended child's pose. If you want a little cushion under the body, you can bring folded blankets or bolster. Give yourself plenty of space, knees wide. Sitting onto the heels, allowing the body to rest, soften the elbows, soften the shoulders. And if you're using any props that has your face either down, I always recommend kind of turning the head, adding a little bit of a neck stretch at the same time. So I'll give you a heads up when we get to about the halfway point, you can turn the head the other way. And let the belly hang down. And a good position for the arms. They don't have to be nice and long and strong. This is restorative, so we can soften, we can bend the elbows, we can let the shoulders drop. Have your head turned, go ahead and switch sides. If you need to come out of your child's pose and readjust, feel free to do so. One more breath here. And then we'll start to rise up onto hands and knees. Move your blankets out of the way. Start to take some really slow cat-cows. Starting from the pelvis, moving through the belly, through the chest, lengthening. Again, starting from the lower half of the body, starting to round one vertebra at a time. Let the head drop. So use these really slow, deliberate movements to notice anything along the spine, across the chest, into the neck. If there's any other part of the body that needs a little extra, you're always allowed to take some organic movement here. You don't have to work with straight lines. Your body's asking for a little side to side wiggle, a little bit of rotation. You can take that. A couple more rounds here, any way you need them. We're gonna tuck the toes. We're gonna lift the hips, come into like a really short down dog. And we'll just use this as an opportunity to work the backs of the legs and pedaling out the feet, rolling through them, working backs of the ankles, calves. And then we're gonna take the feet a little bit wider than your mat. Walk the hands back. Let everything dangle from here. You can either grab opposite elbows, or if you need a little bit more stretch in the back of the neck, place the hands behind the head. Just eating my shirt at this point. So keep the elbows in if you're doing the hands behind the head, lace. And we're going to really allow the full weight of the head dropping down toward the ground, length of the back of the neck, low spine. This can be static, or this can have a little bit of sway. Give yourself a few more breaths here, just letting the spine dangle. And then we'll release the hands. You'll toe your feet closer together. Set the knees down. From here, let's thread the needle from a hands and knees position. You'll float your right arm up. And you send it all the way through, settling down into the ground. A few options that you can play with here. Drag that left hip back. If you need a little more in the right shoulder blade space, left hand on top of right to push that hand away. And then once you find the intensity that you need, relax into it. You're also welcome to just use that left arm as support, or if you want to reach it long or wrap it behind. Loosen the jaw here, keep a little space between your top and bottom teeth. Check in on your usual stress and tension points and notice if they're creeping back into those kind of tight spots where we tend to crunch up the shoulders, clench the jaw. One last breath here. And then press the left hand back into the floor, open the right arm up. And release. Let's do the other side. Left arm opens. Take it all the way through. Settle down into the floor. Drag the right hip back a little. And then find a good option for your right arm. One last breath in. Press the right hand back into the floor. Open the left arm up. And gently release. Find a cross-legged seated position. We'll take a couple shoulder rolls here. And drop the shoulders down. And take a nice deep side bend here. So you're going to crawl your left fingers off to the side. Keep your right sits bone down. Take that right arm up and over. Go however far that you need to go. If you find it kind of awkward as you bend your left elbow, that you need a little more support, you can always use a block. You can grab one of your blankets. But keep that right sits bone down. Allow this right arm just kind of drop overhead. Roll the chest open. See how that changes the stretch on the right side body. Last breath here. And come all the way back up. Give yourself a moment in neutral. And then we'll get ready for a side bend on the other side. Right hand comes down to the floor, maybe to a block. Keep your left sits bone down. Take that left arm up and over. We'll bring that left arm back down. Come back up to center and pause. Lift your shoulders, draw them back, drop them down. Chest nice and broad, so to drop your chin down towards your chest. See with each exhale if you can let your head get a little heavier. We're letting the weight come just through the head. We're not trying to fold into this. And notice if the upper back is starting to cave. Keep pulling those shoulders back and behind. And from here, we'll start to roll right ear toward the right shoulder. Take any pauses that you need, explore any spots that feel extra tight. If you're needing a little more here, you're always welcome to take this right hand, set it on top of your left ear for a little more weight. Or you could use this right hand, find your left trap, and give yourself a little massage here, pushing into the muscle, kneading it, take it into circles. Keep letting the head drop heavily to the right. Three more breaths, whatever variations you've added. And then we'll roll chin back, center. Once you're in center, take those shoulders back and behind again. See how they always like to creep forward. And then you can start the movement over to the left side, left ear toward left shoulder. If you need a little more, feel free to add that left hand on top of the right ear, or maybe working that right trap. One last breath in. Roll the chin back through center. Pause at center, pull those shoulders back and behind, drop them down. And then we'll start to lift the head back up to center. Take a little pause here. And let's grab our two folded blankets. We'll put them into our long rectangle shapes, or if you have a bolster, you can also use a bolster here. We're going to set them at the front of the mat. And we're going to pull them up against your right hip. So your knees are going to point over to the left. You can either stagger the legs or you can stack them. I'll leave that up to you. But blankets or bolster right up to your right hip. From here, you're going to use your hands to frame either side of your props. We're going to come down. If you want a little more in your twist, you can turn your head to the right as your knees are pointing over to the left. So any which way that you want to work the knees, they can stack, they can stagger. You can really stagger them. You can add an extension on that right leg. Whatever works for you here. I'm going to feel this twist move through the belly, low back, and allow the body to soften down. One more breath here. And we'll gently press up. Bring the knees back to center, and this time let's set up on the other side. Knees will point over to the right. And then bring your props right up against your left hip. Start to turn the chest toward your props here. Head might turn to the left this time. You kind of play with how your legs like to be stacked or staggered or extended. Relax the belly. Allow the upper body to turn down toward the floor. We'll stay here for a few minutes, allowing the body to take that deep twist. One more breath here. And we'll gently press back up. Let's turn these blankets sideways. Let's bring you onto your back. We'll just keep those. This will be our new back of the mat. So I'm going to rest the spine up and over for the shoulders to be able to rest onto the mat or hanging toward the mat. I'll leave it up to you how you want to set up your legs. If you want to cross them, bring the soles of the feet together, feet on the ground, or extended. Bring the feet onto the floor. Roll over to one side just so you can move your blankets out from underneath. We'll come down flat onto your back. Hug the knees in. Gentle rock here. And take your knees for some circles. And we'll start to come into our twist. If you want some support, you can grab one or both your blankets, set it on the left side of your mat. We'll extend your left leg long and cross that right knee all the way over. And give yourself room for that right shoulder blade to reach down to the ground. One more breath. Bring everything back to center, reset the hips. Setting up on the other side. If you want some extra cushion, extend the right leg long and take the left knee across. Take one more breath in. Turn everything back to center. Reset the hips. Either draw your knees wide to either side of the ribs, coming into happy baby. We'll start to settle down into Shavasana. If you're feeling a little anxious in the world, not quite settled, need a little more grounding, I recommend just piling your blankets right on top of your belly. I hope you get a little more anchored. Flatten the shoulder blades down. Turn your palms up, let the feet flop open. Rock your head a little side to side. Let the back of the skull rest down. Let's take 3 cleansing breaths here. Full inhale through your nose. Open mouth, exhale. Another breath in. Full breath in. Let that breath go. Last time, big belly breath. And let the body deflate. Let's start to deepen your breath. And bring movement back into the fingers and into the toes. Roll through your wrists and your ankles. Take your arms overhead, full body stretch. Yawn and move your jaw around. Draw the knees in. Roll over to your left. Give yourself a few breaths on your side. Gently press your way up to a comfortable seat. Keep the eyes closed. Soften the shoulders. And bring palms to touch at heart center. Let's seal our practice tonight with a single Om. First, take a full breath in through your nose. Sigh this breath out. Inhale the chant. Namaste.